Hi, I've been getting calls from around the country and emails from around the world as to what's going on in regards to this credit crisis. So I decided to put together a video to tell you what's really going on, and as far as we see it, and or I see it, or who we all see it. As you know from my book, The Pirates, which came about a year ago, 13 months ago, was that I predicted there was going to be some type of economic calamity involving credit derivatives and credit default swaps, and it's all come home to roost. And as we know, Lehman's gone. Merrill Lynch has been another shotgun wedding with Merrill Lynch to Bank of America. AIG just got bailed out, and we don't see any end in sight. What's going on? Well, the fact of the matter is that the financiers in America have run this country over like a 18-wheel out of a Mad Max movie, and the truth is that financiers have inflicted the damage onto this country, much like it did in the 1920s. In the 1920s, we saw over-speculation caused by highly leveraged banks and investment trusts, which were mutual funds at that time, and we saw the same thing again in the 90s and today. And the reason is because the banks really they're very predatory in nature, and they've gotten away with it, and now their chickens have come home to roost. And a lot of people around the country have been asking, where do I keep my money safe? Well, it's obviously not with a bank. The reason is, folks, is that banks, for every dollar of your money which you put on deposit with them, they lend it out a minimum of 10 times to the public on your money, and then they collect interest off that. So when you put $10,000 into a bank and they give you 2%, that 2% gets taxed at the highest marginal rate, but the bank itself actually lends out $100,000 on your $10,000 purchase. And if the bank does not collect the money that they lend out, which they create out of thin air, then that bank can repossess your assets. So that's how traditional commercial fractional reserve banking works. In other words, is that it's very they only keep a fraction of your money on reserve. Conversely, if you're someone like a Citigroup company, they've been leveraging their money about 17 to 1. So for every $10,000 you're putting with Citigroup, they've been lending out roughly $170,000 on your $10,000 deposit. But in the case of the Merrill Lynches of the world, and the Goldman Sachses, and the Bear Stearns, and all these other banks, investment banks which are imploding, they were essentially, for every dollar you bought in their stock deposit, say you bought $10,000 in Merrill Lynch shares, they were borrowing roughly 30, 40 times your deposit or your purchase of stock, and making bets in the market. So you only have 3% equity. You're just one trade away from failing. We're witnessing essentially a close in the American chapter of American finance, which is quite amazing. It took us over 200 years to create $5 trillion in debt, and over the weekend, 2 weekends ago, with the bailout of Fannie and Freddie, we've essentially seen this deficit double within a weekend or two.